So today is the 5th of February 2014 and I'm just riding my bike down the street on my way to do my regular commute to work. I live in the Yonge and Eglinton area and the office where I work is up near Yonge and Sheppard. I've done this video before, or I've done this route before on video, but never on a day when it was snowing like this, or really on a day when there was very much snow on the ground at all. Today is supposed to be one of the worst commutes of the year in terms of weather, because there's quite a bit of snow that's fallen in the last, 8 hours or so. The snow started about midnight last night, and it's been probably about as steady as it's coming right now. It's not, a huge volume that's coming down. It's just, a light dusting, but it's been continuously falling since about midnight, and it's supposed to continue until this afternoon. We're supposed to get another 10 centimeters today while I'm at work. So right now I'm heading north along Yonge, but I don't really ride very far on Yonge most days. Once I get to this traffic light here, I make a left at the crosswalk here, which just happened to turn red just at the right moment. So we're going to go left. And this street here is called Castlefield. And so right now I'm heading west, but only very briefly just to meet up with the road that I take for a long stretch heading north. Unfortunately, this morning when I was getting ready to leave, I realized that I forgot to bring my heart rate monitor. So this video should have the speed in the bottom left-hand corner, but no heart rate. In many of my other commuting videos, I've included my heart rate, which happens to be tied in with my GPS, and it can able to track it every minute or every second. So most of my other videos will have the heart rate reading in the bottom left-hand corner, or bottom right-hand corner. So I'm certainly finding it a little bit tricky to stay upright on this because it's kind of slippery, but still totally rideable. They have plowed this road a little bit overnight, I'm pretty sure, and riding in the ruts from where the cars have driven helps me as well. And you'll hear that squeaking noise. That's my front brakes, which I've readjusted many times and I can't seem to get them to not squeak. Well, they still work very effectively. I actually just put on brand new brake pads on my rear brakes yesterday, so they're working really great. I gotta remember to use those more than the fronts, because the backs before weren't working so great. And of course I gotta keep remembering to look down and make sure the camera's not cleared with snow. Doesn't look like it's getting too badly covered today. I made a video on Saturday, last Saturday, which was the 1st of February, and in that video conditions were kind of similar. There was falling snow and a little bit of snow that was on the ground, and I rode from my apartment down to the downtown area, and I participated in the what they call the coldest day of the year ride, which is a big group of cyclists that ride through the downtown core to promote winter cycling. Even though it wasn't actually the coldest day, it was a nice snowy winter day, the 1st of February. So I'd like to make these kind of videos showing various different weather conditions of riding my bike. I do ride my bike 12 months of the year and pretty much every day going to work. And I've shown a lot of other days before where, you know, riding is pretty reasonable to do. Pretty much anyone can comfortably ride. For example, when it's cold, being able to ride in cold is really not that much of a challenge. You just gotta know what to wear. However, riding in cold when there's snow is a fair bit more challenging because it's a little bit more tricky riding on, you know, slippery roads, and it's a lot harder work too, you know. My back wheel doesn't get as good traction when I'm riding, and my front wheel kind of slides all over the place, so you have to work kind of hard sometimes to keep yourself going in a straight line, and your back wheel can get slowed down when you're, you know, trying to push. And also it kind of gets stuck too, and the fenders get all clogged up with snow. That is if you have fenders on your bike. But I find fenders pretty handy on my commuting bikes. Now I'm wondering whether we'll see any other cyclists while I'm filming this video. I actually saw a cyclist driving down my street right before I turned on the camera, so I'm not the only one crazy enough for riding today. But to be honest, it's really not that bad. You know, it's just really not very deep in this little rut where I'm driving. And there's really not as much traffic as I was expecting. You know, being such a bad day for weather, I was expecting that we'd be stuck behind, you know, a long line of traffic of cars that are having trouble driving in the snow. So the temperature is about -7, and there's a little bit of wind too. So they say that the wind chill factor makes it feel like -14. So we're just waiting here at Lawrence Avenue for the traffic light to change, which it just did. So we're heading north. The street that we're on is called Duplex, although it's just changing names right as I cross that intersection. It's now called Jedburgh, but the two streets line up perfectly with that nice traffic light in the middle. So it makes a really nice north-south alternative to riding on Yonge Street, which is, you know, quite a bit busier than this street. I'm really not doing too badly on the snow. I think I'm going as fast as all the cars. There's a car that was right behind me on that traffic light, and I was a little bit worried that they were going to be, you know, hanging right behind me and, you know, making me feel like I was going too slow, but they're way behind me. So I heard on the news this morning that there was some kind of a shooting up in this area just north of Lawrence at Yonge Street last night. The first report that I read said that it was at Yonge and near Deloraine. And Deloraine is actually a road that I drive on, so I was thinking I might have to make a detour for that section of the ride, but the next report that I read said that it was at Yonge and Teddington Park, which I believe is this street here. Actually, no, it's the one right behind that we just crossed where the crossing guard was. So I'm finding that my glasses are getting pretty covered in snow. Got to keep wiping them off, as well as wiping off these glasses on the camera so that you guys at home can see as well. It's really, when I was watching my videos from Saturday, you know, seeing the snow on the lens is really kind of distracting, or quite distracting. And you know, sitting at home, you just want to reach out and wipe it off yourself. The thing is, when I'm riding, I can't see. I'm not seeing through my camera, I'm seeing through my eyes. So I don't realize how terrible the view is while I'm riding. Some really big potholes that had formed in the last month or so along here that I gotta avoid. I don't know how visible those were there, but I had to, well, there'll be more that I'll have to avoid. Right, there's one. If you don't avoid them, then you end up in this big, you know, your wheel drops off and it's a big thump, and you know, that can you know, cause damage to your wheel. It can make it untrue, your rim, and it actually can cause a flat tire too by, you know, compressing the wheel that much. Oh, and it can break a rear axle too. I've done that once before. From a pothole. I've broken many rear axles over the years. So before I left, I turned my my bike lights on, just to give people a little bit better view of me, a little bit more visibility for my bike. So we're gonna make a left at the next one, which is Deloraine, which was reported to have a shooting at the end of it, but as I said, I think that was a mistake. Oh, we're off the camera again. Here we go. Oh. Yeah, you definitely notice the difference when you switch from a road that's had lots of traffic and lots of snow that has been compacted to one like this that hasn't. It's kind of hard to stay going in a straight line, even though I have, you know, one of the best tire systems that you can have on a bike in the winter. This bike has studded snow tires. So there's little metal studs that are inside of the rubber at the tips of the knobs on my mountain tires, and they help to dig in when there's ice and when there's snow. It helps you dig in a little bit deeper than what you typically get from regular tires. Okay, so we're heading east now along Deloraine, and then we're gonna make a left onto the sidewalk of Yonge so we can cross Yonge, get over the other side of it, make it take my route on the other side of Yonge, which helps me avoid actually riding right on Yonge. Alright, the sidewalk's gonna be tricky. Yeah, snow clearing definitely makes a difference for riding your bike in the winter, just like it does for driving your car. Okay, I'm gonna cross here. This car. No, it doesn't look like that sidewalk on the other side is cleared, so I think I'm going to ride on the road for today instead of the sidewalk. So we'll make a left right onto the road. Yeah, that sidewalk's not been touched. It would be a big mess trying to ride through. It doesn't even look like very many people have walked on it. So I'm actually riding right on Yonge Street, heading north right now. but only for a short little block. And we're going to turn right here onto Don Woods Road, Don Woods Drive, and it hasn't been very well plowed either. So if you've seen me do this route before, you'll know that this is quite a steep descent that I'm about to do, and it's not been very much cleared yet. I don't think it actually has been, you know, plowed at all yet. You can see the middle section there is still full depth of snow. So I'm going to be going quite slowly down this hill here. They do put an awful lot of salt on here and sand to give you the maximum amount of traction you can get, even when they don't plow it. But I'm not going to go flying down here. I'm in no huge hurry. No point in endangering my safety and potentially hurting myself. On a summer day, I go down this at about 60 kilometers, a little bit more, 60, 65 kilometers per hour. That's at the highest point, or at the fastest point. So we're heading through the Hogs Hollow neighborhood of Toronto, and there's a lot of very expensive big houses here. Really neat houses because they're all, you know, a lot of them are built on the side of a ravine, like lots of, you know, steep lots with, you know, buildings are kind of built into the side of the hill, and that's pretty neat. Okay, so you guys can see again. So now we're heading north again. That road made a turn to the left as we were heading down it, so heading north again. And we're on a street called Danino. And as you might have expected after that big descent, we got a big climb coming right up here, and it's going to be hard work because my back wheel is not going to be digging in very well, but it's still doable. Oh, so that car might be stuck there. Yep, they're stuck. Rear-wheel drive vehicles never do as well in snowy conditions as front-wheel drive cars in most cases. Oh boy. Neither do rear-wheel drive bikes. It really made a big difference there when I moved from being in that little bit of slush to being on the clearer parts of the road. So this is quite a long, steep hill, and a lot of cyclists are, you know, amateur cyclists, not extreme cyclists, will avoid coming through this area, coming through Hogs Hollow, because basically Hogs Hollow is just this big valley that if you want to get through it, you got to go all the way to the bottom and then all the way back up to the top again. It really makes getting to the area where I'm going in what you call North York Center quite inaccessible from the rest of Toronto, in terms of transportation through biking and walking and things like that, because a lot of people just aren't up for, or they don't think they're up for the challenge of doing this hill. So I've actually been working with a group that's aiming to improve the cycling infrastructure along the Yonge corridor. So basically the route that Yonge Street takes from, the top of the city all the way downtown. And the first area that we're trying to tackle is this area right around here, trying to, make more people able to cycle from, the lower parts of Yonge Street up to North York Center. And there's actually a pretty cool idea that we're trying to get the ball rolling on. And it's something that's going to eliminate cyclists from having to climb this hill. It's basically a bypass of Yonge Street that follows along. If you're going north to North York Center, when you get to that street, where I cross Yonge Street at where the Loblaws was there, that street's called Yonge Boulevard. So if I was to take this bypass trail, which doesn't exist yet, instead of crossing Yonge, I would have turned to the left and followed Yonge Boulevard. And Yonge Boulevard wraps around and kind of does a big curve and eventually meets up with where the 401 is. And the 401 is it's our biggest highway, busiest highway. They say the busiest highway in North America, definitely the busiest highway in Canada. And should I cross here or should I go up to the traffic light? It's always a question. I guess well, I think I'll just wait for it to be clear and go across. So this bypass solution meets up with Yonge Boulevard meets up with the 401, and the idea is that the bridges of the 401 that go across this big valley, the big valley that I'm describing, the Hogs Hollow Valley, one of the bridges actually has a truss structure below it. The bottom of the truss work that holds up the bridge actually has a nice big platform on it, and our group of cyclists are hoping that the city and the province would be able to sponsor and be able to convert that platform into a multi-use biking, walking, rollerblading sort of a trail that would go underneath the 401, and it would allow people that were going across to have a much quieter alternative to getting to North York, much quieter than riding along the very busy Yonge Street, but also a much easier route, because by taking this bridge across the top of the valley, you avoid having to go down the big hill and coming back up it again. The car or a van halfway up the hill that can't make it up. I usually wait to see if I can cross here, and if it doesn't seem to be clearing, then I'll go up. There's a traffic light to my left, and I'll take that. And I usually will ride along the sidewalk to get up there. But the sidewalk right now is not been touched at all. It'd be really hard riding along that. So I'm kind of faced with a decision here of what exactly I'm going to do, because neither alternative is very good. This van just can't make it up. All right, so I think I'll go for the traffic light, but I'm gonna ride along the road. Hopefully people are considerate and give me my lane. Changing red. Am I gonna make it? Oh boy. Yeah, I'll make it. Oh. Oh boy. Certainly not the easiest day to ride, as you can probably imagine. But it's still a fun challenge that I enjoy. Thanks. Now you can probably figure out what I mean by more work. It really is a shame that I don't have my heart rate monitor, because I guarantee my heart rate is going to have a much higher average than on a regular commuting day. Alright, so now after climbing that big hill, we got to go right back down it again to meet up with where I'm going. And this road kind of looks like it's been plowed a bit, but more snow's fallen since then. And not very many cars have driven on it. So I'm just going to go nice and slow. It's actually better to go, if you go really slow on snow, it's like impossible to stay upright. So you have to find the happy medium in between going too slow and going really fast and completely out of control. Oh, I haven't cleared this guy off in a while. I'm sorry, guys. Hopefully you can still see a bit. Oh boy. Alrighty. So, to the left of me, about 100 meters to the left, is where I was waiting there trying to cross the road. So when the road doesn't seem to be clearing, I just go up to that traffic light and I use that and wait for it to change and take the traffic light to get across. I would say it's only marginally safer going up that way. It's definitely safer crossing at a traffic light rather than just going right across when there's no traffic light. But getting up there, as I showed, means riding on that really busy road, or it means riding on the sidewalk, which really isn't very safe either, because there's cars coming and going out of those driveways that might not see you coming, or you might not see them coming. So this road I'm riding on is called Old Yonge Street. And actually, basically Old Yonge Street starts right when I started climbing that hill. Right where the car was that couldn't make it up that little hill there. Not the van, but the car that was the BMW that I was saying had rear wheel drive. That's where Old Yonge starts, and actually changes name up right here. Old Yonge actually swings to the left over here and connects right back up with the regular Yonge Street. And this road here is called Upper Canada Drive. And now we're approaching a road called Lord Seaton, and I'll make a left along here, and that'll bring me back down towards where Yonge Street is. I won't actually go all the way to Yonge Street, and then I'll take my route which crosses the 401, which is notorious for being unplowed in the mornings. So it might be a tricky ride, a slow ride. I find that the roads as soon as you cross the 401, the roads are much worse than in Toronto, up on that side of where North York is. I find that these roads are, even though you might think these roads aren't great, this is usually where I go through, quite deep. Oh yes. All right. Battling the snow. Actually drifted quite a bit from the wind. Oh, this part's looks like it's been plowed. Not super recently, but it has been plowed at some point through the night, I think. And definitely salted. Hey, look, we got clear roads here. This part's always clear of snow. Right now we're going underneath the 401, that major big highway I was talking about. Well, this part here has been well plowed, but I bet the next one that I'm going to take has not been touched at all, which is it's a pathway to the neighborhood that I ride through. Oh, I can even see it. It's on the left right here. And it's uphill too, which makes it more tricky. Here we go. Oh. Oh. They said it's hard to getting started. Of course I could just walk through here. But I'm able to just barely ride through. It's a good 25 centimeters deep, I'd say, in the deepest parts. Only one set of footprints going through. All right. There we go. And we're on the road. But as I predicted, much worse road conditions than on the other side of the 401. There we go. It's always very windy through here. All these condo buildings kind of make a little bit of a wind tunnel effect. So as you can imagine, this is not the easiest commute I've done all year. Although it's not the most challenging winter commute I've done either. But as you can see, I mean, I haven't missed a single day of riding all winter long. And some days it's like this, but most days it's not, at least in Toronto. But that just goes to show that, you know, if you're determined to ride, you can do it on pretty much every single day. It's not impossible, I guess is what I'm saying. And I'm living proof of that. So we're almost at work now. This road is always the worst. Oh, actually, it's not too bad today. Maybe I take that back. Going in a zigzag pattern here. Oh boy. Yeah, even with studded tires, it's still not that effective in deep snow. Studs only can do so much when all your studs are touching is snow, or all your tires are doing is touching snow. The snow just kind of pushes you wherever it wants you to go. You know, you don't really get very much traction from snow because your wheels get, you know, stuck to the snow, but the snow moves, so. But that's much the same with any vehicle that drives in the winter, cars included. It's hard for cars to drive in deep snow as well, no matter what tires they've got on them or how powerful they are. This big snow pile at the end of the road here is so high you can't even barely see over it. Oh boy. So we're just, that traffic light there is Sheppard Avenue, so we're almost at work. Just gotta cross this traffic light. Oh. I guess part of the problem is that my glasses get all clogged up with snow and a little bit foggy too, and I can't really see the right routes to take when I'm riding, you know, to be able to navigate through the shallowest parts. I think I'm gonna walk my bike across here. There's my green light. So now it's a short little ride along the sidewalk, and I'm at work. And luckily it looks like they've actually done some clearing of this sidewalk. It's not deep at all. So anyways, I hope you've enjoyed joining me on my snowy commute to work on February 5th, 2014. I've enjoyed making this video, and I hope you've enjoyed watching it. So thanks for watching.